The seller is advertising his house for $140,000.
140?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Asking 140.
He needs no work, and you find out it's worth 140.
All right.
The house is free and clear,
Okay.
and the seller won't hold paper or lease option. However, he has indicated that he will take $20,000 discount for a cash buyer.
All right. Boy, this is normal. Yeah. I'm motivated and I'm flexible. Just pay me my 140 and then cash him tomorrow. What we do?
Okay, our first one that we came up with is we felt we could offer him a straight-up cash deal for $100,000. With a $40,000 spread, we were fairly...
To buy it or to option it?
To buy it. To buy it for $100,000.
Oh, I've been waiting on this one. So you're going to take this $140,000 house and you're going to come out of pocket or somebody else's pocket and you're going to throw $100,000 cash at it and buy it. Is that correct?
We're going to have a buyer lined up before we make that deal.
Oh. Boy, are we in La La Land now, or what? Huh? So in other words, the seller's called you on the telephone, and before you go out and even make the deal with the seller, you're going to try to find a buyer for a house you haven't even seen yet. Is this how this works? I see. Give me a break here. You're going to pay $100,000 cash for this house. Did these guys all agree with this with you? Did Scott agree with this?
I am representing my group. They will sign a disclaimer on this as well.
You pay $100,000 cash for this house. First of all, doesn't it say right there that the seller won't even take less than $120,000?
We're going to try to get it for less.
Okay, but you're going to offer him $100,000 cash anyway.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
To see how firm he is on that particular position.
Okay. Well, if they did in fact offer him $100,000 cash and went down and did that the hard way, and they had the money or their partner put up the money or whatever, they're not really going to get into any kind of a trap, are they?
What do you mean?
Well, no. If they paid $100,000 for the house all cash and it was worth $140,000, they'd probably make a little money on it by the time they got it sold, wouldn't they? Yeah? They'd make a little money. They wouldn't make enough money to justify a $100,000 cash expenditure. They'd make a little money. You folks in the MLS boot camp, what would be the Mayo on this property, assuming it needed no repairs?
$98,000.
$98,000 would be the Mayo, wouldn't it? And what did I tell you about the Mayo? Never, ever pay the Mayo. However, in this case, we pay over the Mayo. If you got $100,000 cash or access to it, you shop around for a whole lot better deals than this. All right. If you paid him $100,000 cash, your idea was you were going to have it sold before you bought it.
It's our objective.
All right. Would you sign an agreement to pay him $100,000 cash if you didn't have that buyer in place?
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. Here's a question for all of you. Would you rather option the property at $120,000 with zero risk and zero capital needed, or buy it for $100,000? I'll take the option every day of the week. Every day of the week. Because I won't lose a wink of sleep over it. I won't have to worry about raising the money. I won't have to worry about the losing money. I'd rather make the 20. By the way, just for the heck of it, suppose I did buy the house for $100,000. How much closing costs have I got, number one, just to buy it? A couple grand, probably. Now how much have I got to sell it? I can't get out of this because I'm the owner now. I got to pay half the closing costs or thereabouts when I sell it. I just ate up several $1,000s in closing costs. I live in Maryland. They really clean my clock. 3.5% both directions to buy and sell. What's Michigan? 5% what?
Transfer fee.
5% of what?
Of the sale price.
Are you sure?
Yes, but the new law just went into effect. No, it goes into effect January.
You've got to be kidding.
95.
5% of the purchase price for transferred tax?
I had it.
I want to see it because I don't believe it.
They just have to.
I think it would totally eliminate the sale of real estate.
I had it in my office.
I don't believe it.
But some people are talking about doing in Michigan
selling the houses furnished, so that the price of the house is one, and the profit comes from the fact that it's furnished.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to tell you what, if I lived in Michigan and that were true, I'd find ways not to pay that tax.
With the trust.
Well, that's one way. That's one way. That's one. I ain't getting off. I ain't getting in it. I ain't going to do it. No way. I ain't going to do it.
Just get off the paper.
Okay, I want to see it. Because if that's true, I need to know that.
That's effective January 1st, 95.
Okay. All right. Let's get back with our program here. $100,000 cash stinks. Give me plan 2.
Plan 2. We would do the option with him.
Okay.
We know that he would accept $20,000 off, so we could easily offer him $120,000.
Okay.
We would see how negotiable he is on that figure. If we could bring that figure down anything below the $120,000.
Just offer him the 110.
Well, that's what we
With an
have.
option. Just
Offer him
offer-
110. If he takes it, great. If he doesn't, we can always go up to his 120 or any span in between there
Okay.
and take it for a 6-month option.
All right.
And
then you'll
probably
sell
sell it for 145, whatever we can get above that 140.
Okay. Well, you can sell it for 140 or thereabouts, just for all cash. Okay. And the thing says that he won't let anybody in his house and so forth and so on, right?
Right.
All right. So even at that point, you want to make him a lease option offer, even though it says that?
No.
No. Seller is advertising his house and needs no work, and to find out it's worth about 140, the house free and clear, and seller won't hold paper or lease option. Okay, the problem says he won't lease option, so no sense of pursuing that. Okay, any comments on this plan? It looks like if he won't lease option, it's an option or nothing, isn't it? What do you think of your chances of really getting this thing at a price that I would agree with for all cash when it's in excellent condition in a gorgeous house and gorgeous area? Slim to none. Besides, I'd much rather option it. No risk. Yes, Scott. Yeah, they throw you out, one or two. You don't care which one anyway, do you, Scott? Keep your old ugly house. I didn't want it anyway. Yeah, but what if he took the 100,000? You don't ever want to make an offer, Scott, that you don't want him to take. The only person you'd sign that to is some owner-occupant, and they're, now you're talking about dollars that they're probably not going to have on hand. They got to go get a new loan, the whole ball of wax. If you're going to go through all that crap, you might as well sell a retail price. Don't you think? Plan sucks. It's option only. Seller calls a house that the ARV is 68, okay?
But it needs $2,000 in work.
2,000 repairs.
Right.
All right.
There's a $38,000 no qualifying first,
38,000 no qualifying.
and $17,000 credit line owed on the house.
Plus 17,000 more, okay?
Seller says he'll walk for $2,000 in his pocket.
Seller's asking for 70, okay? And the payment? Doesn't say, does it?
Doesn't say.
Okay. Seller's asking, yeah, you're right. 38 and 17 is 45, 48, 55, asking 57. Okay, you're right.
What
All
we
right.
come up with was a whole bunch of disagreements.
Oh, I knew that. That's why I created a problem.
But
Is this a real problem?
yes,
This is very, very, very common, isn't it? Okay?
our
By
first,
the way, excuse me, it
Sure.
is a real house. That's where it came from. You didn't think I was smart enough to make up some mess like this, did you? Okay.
our first shot at him was going to be $500 and asked for a deed.
Okay,
Try to
he
get a
owes
deed.
55, it's worth 68, needs a couple in repairs. Would you all give him $500 if he gave you a deed? Who would not? Sure? Let me just tell you this much. Anytime you can get the deed to a house that's worth $70,000 for $500, you take it. You take it.
That
Take it.
that figure we decided was going to be negotiable up to his...
Well, first let's discuss the back door here, because you're
Okay.
actually going to pay $55K for the house plus $500. All right? And you're just going to get a deed. Obviously, the seller doesn't care about their credit, right?
Right.
Okay. Because are you even going to assume the first or not? Just going to leave it alone? You're going to get a deed for the second. If the seller don't care about the credit on the second, you might as well not even bother assuming the first.
Right.
No need to. Now, when your buyer buys the house from you, well, in this case, since that $17,000 credit line is on there, the only way you're going to sell this house is with a new loan anyway, isn't it?
Right.
By the way, folks, a credit line is one loan they will call due. Yeah, a credit line is one loan they will call due. They'll do it just out of principle. Everybody know what a credit line is?
Yes.
Yeah. See, it still has drawing rights. Credit line, they really get nasty about a credit line. Many banks will. So, but if we own the property and we don't have anything in it, we're not worried about them getting nasty as long as we own it, are we? Huh? Well, you should take it in a land trust, yes. But in worst case scenario, they call a loan due. You want the house or the money? Oh, they usually wouldn't, but if they're ever going to call you and try to bluff you into making a payment or paying off the loan or whatever, it's going to be with a credit line, not with a standard regular mortgage. I've had a couple call me on credit lines, and they never actually called the loan due. But for the normal individual, for the average entrepreneur, you couldn't have stood the pressure that they put on you. Because they will totally convince you that if you don't pay them, they're going to call the loan due. Now, they can't come after you for any of this debt, can they? He took this thing subject to. He did not agree. He's not the seller. The seller deeded him the property. Can the bank come after him for any portion of this debt? No. So when you think it through, whatever they huff and puff and say, what's the worst that can happen to me? The worst that can happen to me is they foreclose on this house, and I promise you if they do, it won't be in the same condition it is in today, will it?
No, not at all. Not at all.
They may foreclose, they may not. If they find out the deed is transferred, they will huff, they will puff, and they will both smoke up your butt to do everything they can to try to get you to come down and pay that loan off. They will threaten you. They will tell you they're going to call the loan due. They will do everything. They might even have their attorney write you a letter. So now are you going to be able to stand this barrage? No? That's the good side. They don't come get your kids. Well, maybe that's the bad side. I'm not sure. They can't do a darn thing to you. That's what you got to understand. They can't do anything but threaten you, and the most they can do is take this house. So then you have to deal with him. Look, I'm willing to make the payments till I get the house sold and pay you off in cash. That's the best I can do. If that's not good enough, maybe you would rather own the house. But if you foreclose on it, then that means I've got no reason to keep an eye on it. I can't promise you what kind of condition it's going to be in when you get it back.
And you're not paying anymore.
And of course I'm not paying anymore. I'm offering you the monthly payments. I'm going to sell the house. You're going to get paid off anyway. Not too far in the future. If that's not going to work for you, then let me know. I'll quit making payments right now. I'd just soon keep them anyway, personally. And then they'll have to check with their boss, and they'll huff and they'll puff and they'll blow some more smoke. Sooner or later, they're going to back off. But when you're dealing with a credit line, every once in a while, you're going to get one to proceed. If you're not going to be in this thing more than a few months, possibly even a year, possibly even 2, it's going to take them that long to find out anything happened anyway, then it's all irrelevant. It's all irrelevant. And if you intend to get this thing sold and get it cashed out, you know, when it's all cashed out, when your buyer goes down and gets a loan, all this crap's going to be paid anyway. It don't make any bit of difference, does it? Question, Scott.
If the bank won't accept your payment, even though you're trying to make it, could you put that into an escrow account?
Wouldn't do you any good. The bank still has full right not to accept your payment or to accept it. I would say if they don't accept it, but they don't send it back, you just keep on sending them. Just keep on sending them. Keep on sending them. But if they send it back, then you need to have a conversation with them and see where they're going to go from here, because it will affect where you go from here, won't it? Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. What's your back door?
We're going to try to sell this house on a lease option.
All right, you're going to lease option it out.
Price $75,000.
75, I can live with that.
We're going to rent it for $750.
$750.
We're going to try to get $6,000 down.
Good luck.
Right.
Oh, we might do it. Might do it. See, that's a good thing about this business. Sometimes, some days, you can't get $3,000 out of an $80,000 house, you think. And some days, you can put a $40,000 house in there and somebody brings you $10,000, you know. That's the kind of business you're in. What you do is you try for the larger, and, a couple of weeks goes by and you're having difficulty arriving at that amount that you wanted to get, then you start lowering it until you just get the job done. You follow what I'm saying? I'm telling you, sometimes you're going to run across situations that you just can't explain why this deal ain't done by now. Well, I've got a couple of them now. In fact, I hate to even talk about them. But I've had houses that should have sold and should have sold immediately, and there's no describable, ascertainable reason why they haven't, why they just aren't gone. And it takes 2-3 times longer than I expect to get them gone. And then I've had other houses that I said, boy, is this going to be a problem. Whew. 2 days later, it's gone. So that's the nature of the business that we're in. And remember, when you get out of here, you're out of seminar land. If you try to get $6,000 on this house and you get it, aren't you a lot better off than if you only tried to get $3,000? Yeah. So you've got nothing to lose by going for the larger amount, but just understand, if the thing sits there for a couple of weeks and you ain't got any hot prospects on it, you better start getting down into more realistic numbers to make it happen. That holds true also for the monthly payment. You can try to get them as high as you can, but if you run across too much resistance, then you better start lowering it until you get it down to where somebody's going to take it. Don't lose track of all these prospects that you've collected that you've not done business with because they didn't or couldn't meet your terms.
Being that there wasn't any payment mentioned, we were kind of in the dark there as far as what...
You have to kind of guess, don't you?
Yeah.
About 600?
600, maybe
I'd say 600 would be about right.
Yeah.
P-I-T-I?
That's what we guessed. Mm-hmm.
Huh? All right?
Yeah.
So if you collect 750, you're all right.
Mm-hmm.
Not where I'd want to be, but you're all right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it? At the end of the plan?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. What if the bank calls the loan due while you've leased it out? Ooh.
Well,
this is a nasty
which
one.
would you like to have, the house or the money?
Yeah, but you got a tenant in here and you got $6,000 of his money. And 6 months later, the bank calls the loan due.
Yeah, this is
Scores. Call like the buy. Call the tenant buy it so you can get a qualified owner.
In this particular case, the tenant's not going to assume this junk that's on it. The only way this tenant's going to buy is go get a new loan, right?
Right.
Tenant knows that going in, right?
Right.
If I give them 1 year, if I just give them 1 year to buy, right? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say 3 or 4 months into this thing, they call the loan due. I will certainly notify the tenant. I say, look, can you speed this up earlier? I'll give you a special incentive if you can get this loan done now. Because I have an underlying loan on here. The banks get a burr up their butt and they're going to call the thing due. And I either got to go fight them off, or else you got to get approved for a loan and close it now. If you go ahead and do this now, I'll lower the price for you for $3,000 to cover your closing costs. Huh? Or, which bank will call the loan due, by the way? It ain't going to be this one.
No,
Absolute worst case scenario, I'd have to come up with $17,000 to own this house because I got a deed for $500. If it's worth $70,000 and I only owe $38,000, I might just be able to come up with $17,000 just to pay them off if I have to. That's the worst case scenario. But I'm telling you right now, by transferring this house, it takes this banks months and sometimes years to figure out it happened. And it could be by the time that this happened, they'd never find it out. But even if they did, if they found it out late into the year, by the time they got around to even filing foreclosure, it'd be about time for this guy's lease option to expire anyway. Follow me? Okay.
How did the bank pick up that?
How did the bank pick it up? They can pick it up all kinds of ways. The easiest way to pick it up is for some dumb homeowner to go tell them. Then you got the insurance is going to change on it after you take title to it, and they're going to get notified of that. Usually it takes them quite a while. Most of the time, even when they find out about it, it takes a month to do anything if they do it.
Why don't you just stay on the insurance?
I wasn't on the insurance to begin with. The insurance was in the seller's name. Seller's gone. I just bought the property from him. Now I'm going to be on the insurance.
You put it in trust, did you? Right?
Just the same. It came out of the seller's name, Coy. The insurance changed. Yes.
What would stop the seller from going back in and borrowing?
First of all, I'd have to kill him. Second, I don't know. You know, that's a good question.
You probably still could.
He could. If it's kind of credit line where all he's got to do is write a check on it, he could, couldn't he?
You'd have to maybe get the checkbook from him.
Oh, yes, he can. If he deeds, he can't do it legally. But if he deeded the house to me and then he went down and wrote another check on that credit line, it'd clear. They don't know he don't own it.
Probably maxed out.
Oh, that's right. It's maxed out. Get me out of this one. The only way you'll ever stop it for sure is to let the bank know that he transferred the title. Which wouldn't bother me a bit, by the way.
Couldn't we ask him to go and borrow the money needed for repairs?
Yep.
And give it
Good.
to you. Huh?
Yeah. Let him go ahead and max it out then?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? Yeah. And
Give you the money.
let him max it out and give you the money for repairs.
Yeah.
Or let him go at least get $500 on his own credit line to buy the house. What does he care? Yeah. That's a good question. By the way, if he only had $17,000 on it, my guess is he'd have a bigger credit line than that. You know, they're usually in 15, 20 even increments. So you would have to take care of that. I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd just go right to the bank, show him a deed, and say, cut this credit line off. This guy sold me the house, and I'm going to go sell it and pay it off. That's like sticking your head in the lion's mouth, ain't it? You know why? You know, in fact, that might be the best thing in the world you could do. You know why? If you're going to have a problem, you'll know it. The bank going to do one of two things. They can say, well, as long as you keep on making us the payments till you get it sold, we're okay. And if that's if they say that, you're okay. But if they say, well, we're going to call a loan due, I'm going to say, well, you better give me a letter stating that you're not going to call it due because I need to know right now before I go rent the house out if you're going to call it due. I can't guarantee you what kind of shape it's going to be in.
Aren't most credit lines...
By the way, what if they do say they're going to call it due? Let them call it due. I promise you I'm going to get my $500 back one way or the other. It's either going to be in the form of cabinets or an air conditioning system, one of the two. Or both, perhaps. No, not if they're going to call the loan due. I wouldn't even do that to a tenant. Move them in, make them move back out. They get served. They'll serve the tenant. Yeah. I just love challenging banks. It's just one of those things in life I like. If they're going to give me a problem, I'd rather do it now while I got nothing to lose, wouldn't you think? In fact, I might even do it before I even go record the deed. Might not even want to pay recording out till I deal with a bank. Just show them the deed. I love it when you're in control.
Does the land trust work with the credit line just like the mortgage?
All you're doing with the land trust, Murphy, is to try to keep the bank from finding out the transfer took place. That's all you're doing. In this particular case, see, I can teach you what you should do, or I can teach you what I can do, or I'll do. Which one do you want to know? Both. I go down there and shove it right in their face and find out what they're going to do. See, because I ain't got nothing to lose. Now, when you start going stupid things and throwing $10,000 at this deal with a due on sale clause loan at it, and then you lose control. You're at their mercy. You be down on your hands and knees. Please don't call it due. Please don't call it due. I'll lose my $10,000 if you call it due. Well, you got $500 invested in it. Say, what are you going to do, bank? Pass or play? Your choice. I win whatever you do. Said that a half a dozen times. I win no matter what they do. And that's the way you want to keep yourself. You sleep a lot better.
But I thought the land trust was separate.
Murphy, that's true as long as the current owner owns it. But when the current owner transfers ownership of the land trust, it's a violation of the due on sale clause. and they definitely can call it due. If I put my house in a land trust, the bank can't touch it. But if I deed it, or if I assign the interest to him, I've violated the due on sale clause. All I'm doing by putting it in a trust is hiding it from the bank that I've transferred my interest to him. That's all I'm doing. Question?
Can you tell us once again how you determine the length of the lease on the back door?
Basically, it has more to do with the buyer's needs than anything else. First of all, I have to know how long of a term that I've negotiated with my seller. In this case, I own the house now. We're talking about this one. I own the house. We got a deed for this house. So I got as long as I want. And that's why I like to go for the deed. So I'll just find out what the needs are of the buyer and construct the deal around that. And try to give them a year at a time. But I have given buyers longer than a year at their request, though, for good reasons. If I like the buyer, if I'm getting a good size money out of them, I'm getting a monthly spread on them, I'll do whatever they want me to do that makes sense, that I feel comfortable doing. I've learned that if you spend time trying to explore the needs of the other side and then spend time constructing a deal that they're happy with, that really works for them, as long as I can make it work for me, I find a lot better relationships happening in that situation. So if a buyer comes in and says, I don't think I can buy it in a year, I'm getting a promotion at the end. I'm not going to get my bonus till about 18 months from now, or I'm not going to settle this lawsuit that I'm in until 18 months from now. I says, well, you tell me how you want it done, and we'll work toward that end.
Seller is asking for $110,000 cash for a house in poor condition. Okay. You ascertain it would be worth $160,000 after spending $15,000 on repairs.
Whoa. Free and clear?
The seller owes $62,000 on a no qualifying loan with a payment of $585 a month, but won't sell until he gets his cash.
All righty.
The house is vacant and has been on the market for 1.5 years. What do you offer?
Okay.
To market the house for $140,000.
All right. You're going to market for $140,000. How do you mean?
With owner financing.
How are you going to do that? You have an option on it.
We're getting our buyer to come in.
How are you going to deliver title?
Well, we're going to assign our contract. We're going to assign our option to our new buyer.
Say what? With owner financing?
We're getting our new buyer qualified for the mortgage.
Who's doing the repairs?
We're not going to do any repairs. We're selling it for...
Didn't we just go through this?
But we're selling it for $140,000.
No lender's going to do a loan on the house when it's in this shape. I don't care what you sell it.
Not even non-conventional 70% of $140,000?
Nope, not in this condition.
All right.
Besides, the 70% of $140,000 at what rate? They'll clean their clock. That plan sucks.
I can tell you what somebody did in town. You're John Ulmer.
Yeah? My John Ulmer?
John Ulmer.
Mm-hmm.
He bought a home for $28,000. It was in such bad condition because we looked at it. It was the pits.
Yeah.
Who couldn't believe?
Who couldn't believe?
Yes, he sold it for $48,000.
Yeah.
And didn't do one lick of work. And what he did, he just gave his buyers a 1-month land contract for them to come in and do enough work that they could go to the bank and get a loan on it. And they went and got a loan for the $48,000.
All of that's well and good. But you missed several important points. Number one, you said John Ulmer bought the house, didn't you? We're not buying this house until this man gets $110,000, are we? Huh?
Yeah.
Number two, this man's not going to let somebody live in his house and repair it until he gets his cash. Yeah. So John Ulmer's plan just went out the window, didn't it? What John Ulmer has done, I've done dozens and dozens of times too, but I own the property. I can do whatever I want to do with them. We don't have that luxury here. All we have is an option to buy this house. We can't put anybody in it. We can't repair it. We can't do anything until we get this man his $110,000. I think it very clearly points that out in there, or gets him his 90 or whatever he accepts. All right. You have a back door for option one?
No.
Good. All right. You have a offer two?
No. We were going to make an all-cash offer of $87,000 cash. But that's not a lease option or option.
Would you pay $87,000 for it?
Mayo is $97,000. No, it's worth $160,000.
Mayo is what?
It's worth $160,000.
Oh, okay.
Mail's about 97.
You pay 87 for it.
All cash.
Where would you get the money?
Private lender.
Private lender?
Yep.
At what loan-to-value ratio?
About 55%.
What's 55% of 160? Huh? 88.5? Take out brokerage, take out closing costs, and then take out repair escrow. That'd be a good plan. All you'd have to come up with about $25,000.
How about 85,000, 5,000 down, and 15,000?
The man already said he wants all cash or nothing.
Yeah.
That's in the problem there. It's all cash or nothing. Now what it says?
Right. We're reaching on these other ones. We just figured the option was the safest and easiest way to get in and out of this thing.
It's about the only way I'd mess with it if he won't do anything else but take all cash, won't do anything, period. The option is the only, isn't that the only offer you can offer him? Now, you can offer him an all-cash offer, but I wouldn't pay him 87 for it. I mean, I might. I could. Came up with 80 for what? For an all-cash offer? Okay. Of course, he's already said he wouldn't take less than 110, but we're ignoring all of that. We're, hey, this is a seminar. We can do anything we want, can't we? Okay. He's asking 1 cent. Said he wouldn't take. Didn't say he wouldn't take less. All right. Well, okay. All right. So we're saying we'll make him an all-cash offer and we'll make him an option offer higher. Is that what we're saying? Either one I can live with. Get off my chair. Yes. Yes. Yeah, if you offered him cash, you would assume his loan and pay him the difference. Yeah, you wouldn't do away with a nice loan like that.
Seller calls with a house in foreclosure. You learn that it's worth $80,000, needs about $1,000 in work.
All right.
Has a principal balance owed of $68,000.
All right.
The seller wants no money. She will be happy if someone would just pay the 5 back payments of $700 per month and stop the foreclosure. The loan is due on sale. What do you offer? This one was a little, we were having some disagreements on how to deal with it. First we tried to see what would happen if we just got her to deed us the property. If it was worth having still at that point. Well, there's a $68,000 loan. For us to do anything with this property, we're first going to have to pay off $3,500 of back payments if we're going to take the property back, and then we got to put $1,000 worth of repairs in. So now we'll have invested $72,500 on a house that has an after-repaired value of only $80,000. So we have $7,500 worth of equity, and we put in $4,500 of our own cash. It didn't look like a real steal to us. So our first option was pass.
That's your offer, huh?
Don't return the call.
Okay, we're going to make a lot of money on this deal. That's right. All right.
Okay, so then we tried to get a little creative, and we thought, okay, let's see if we can do a lease option on this particular product.
Why? She's willing to give you the house. Folks, there's no reason for you to ever lease option a house they're willing to give you.
That's our back door, I guess I should have said. They will take the house.
Of course, you're back to the same plan, though. Is it worth it to make up the 5 back payments?
It's tough because it takes upfront money on our part. Also, we were looking at the fact that if, in fact, we were to get rid of this through a lease option, we'd probably be able to get about $4,500 as a down payment, which is about what we've got into the house for our own cash. We might be able to break about even there, even though we figured it was probably going to take us we should plan for 2 months of paying that mortgage until we get somebody in it and some cash flow going.
2 months to lease option it?
That was the consensus, just protection.
What is it about this house you guys don't like? I mean, why is it going to take 2 months to lease option it? He said it'd take 2 months.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Yeah, we needed 2 payments. We're not sure that we might be able to get a person in. Yeah.
Well.
So if that was the case, if we put $4,500 into it,
yeah,
we were trying to look at then what we could get back, not only for down payment. We figured we could get a $4,500 deposit out of it. The other issue was about the payments every month.
Yeah.
Now we figured the fair market value of a property like this would be about $800 a month. So we would try to charge $900 a month rent for the property. And then we still had to try to acquire the remaining amount of money so that that person could have the entire deposit at the end of 1 year. And we felt that the problem is that we would have to get too large of a monthly payment. It would take us about $1,000 extra a month to close this out in 1 year. However, if we allowed the lease tenant...
Why do you have to close it out in 1 year? You own the house.
We don't, right. We figured it with 2 years, though, for an additional $500 a month, now the tenant could own it within a 2 year period of time. So that looked to be the most attractive. Come in with us, give us $4,500 down, give us $900 a month rent, an additional $500 a month for 2 years, and they own the house. Or they take over the existing...
Really, the question we have to decide here is whether $3,500 putting into this deal, that we have to make it work somehow to make it worth that kind of an investment and our time. Isn't that correct?
Exactly. Actually, it's $4,500 because there's $1,000 worth of repairs on top of it.
Well, it doesn't say we have to do the repairs.
Okay, sure.
Can our buyer do the repairs?
Sure.
$1,000 worth of repair isn't much repair, is it? Just nitpicking cosmetic stuff, a little bit here and there, which any buyer would be more than glad to do. Okay, in exchange for less down or whatever. All right, let's analyze this thing from top to bottom. How many of you would walk from this deal? I mean, just literally walk. Most of you, right? And you know, and maybe you should. Yes.
First thing I would do is, okay, there's 5 back payments. There's 5 back payments. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean you got to run down there to the bank and get 5 back payments to get in on the deal.
That's true.
Worst case scenario, you go down to the bank and try to work out something where they take 4 or all of the back payments and shift them around to the back part of the loan.
Yeah, you can do all that if you want to. While you're doing that, I will have bought 2 other houses, but you can do all that crap you want to. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing that. Besides, your chances are slim to none that they're going to do it anyway. They're structured under such rules nowadays, they just soon foreclose and get it over with and get it in, get it out, and be done with it rather than make some stupid deal like that. Because somebody down at the bank has to give you authority to do that, and I have very little success. Way back in the early 80s, we used to do that a lot, but lately it's just no intelligent life form, folks. I don't even want to get into that. So let's assume that the back payments have to be paid. Would you invest $3,500 into this house, based on what you see, to be the owner now, not to lease it? Let's see. First of all, what would you sell it for on a lease option?
90.
How much?
90.
90? You can try that, sure. If I sold it for $90,000 on a lease option, if I did now, I'd have to do the repairs, or I'd probably have to give them credit somehow for the repairs. Okay? I only owe $68 on it. Folks, I just created $22,000 worth of equity. Okay? Now you say, well, I got to put $3,500 into it, though. So if I put $3,500 into it, how do I get it back? That's something you always got to ask yourself. If I put it out, how do I get it back? Now, isn't it true that the absolute worst case scenario is that you do put $3,500 into this deal, that if you rent it out, rent to own it, you can't get it 5, but you get at least 3. You only got $500 in this house. Isn't that true? Okay. With $22,000 worth of equity here, if you lease to own it. Now, you won't sell it today for $90. But in this case, I'm not sure I want to sell it today. I'd rather lease to own it and extract more money out of it over the term, and I've virtually got little or nothing invested. And by the way, if I can get $3,000, I can get $3,500 back. Just as easy, and maybe even more. So I'm giving up my front-end payday, but let's look at the rest of it and see if it makes any sense. What's my payment here? $700. I got a $90,000 house. There's no way I'm not going to collect more than that per month. My base rent ought to be what? $895, $795, something like that. Depends on where you live, doesn't it? Let's just say it's $795, okay? A base rent $795. Isn't it true that if I just break even going in, I got a $95 a month positive cash flow on a $90,000 house now with $22,000 worth of equity in it for free? Now, is it better that you own a $90,000 house for free, or a $40,000 house for free? I mean, see, this is not one of them old Cracker Jack boxes. This is a house from this point on that I am never going to have any trouble renting out. It's in a good area. It's a good house. It's the kind of house most of you live in. you're not going to have any trouble renting it out. And if you look at it from a point of view that you've got nothing invested in it, and frankly you've got nothing to lose, it may or may not be worth your time to get involved in. I see it as a pretty good sized payday when it finally does get sold, and I see it as a pretty decent monthly spread in the process, because I'm not going to sell it for $7.95. You know, I'm going to try to get at least $9.95 out of this thing. Not straight rent, but any way I can get it. Now I'm at a $300 a month positive cash flow on a zero investment. Now I don't know about you, and I'm not sure, but I think that beats CD rates. So for what I know and a little bit of work, I've created an asset with at least a $20,000 value in it and at least a $300 a month positive cash flow, and it's virtually free. And you know the good part? I can quit any time I like. I'm not personally liable on this note. If I get tired of paying it, to heck with it. Let them have it. I have nothing invested. But I can find all kind of ways to keep on getting money out of this house. What if this individual I put in here moves out 6 months later, and now I'm break even, I get to do it all over again. Now I get to start making money up front in cash. Anytime a seller is willing to give me a house, I'm very inclined to take it. What if I don't even make these payments until I get this money from this buyer?
You have a friend who works for a bank that just repoed a $750,000 house. They have it on the market for $695.
Okay.
But your friend says he knows they will let it go for $650.
Okay.
What do you offer?
This is a bank?
This is a bank.
Okay.
Okay, since we know that a bank is going to only want cash.
Okay.
That rules out lease optioning.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, doesn't hurt to try.
Well, okay, well, we thought that
on this price range of house, the bank's going to want such a high payment, then think your chances of lease optioning it from a bank are not very good.
Okay. That was our assumption. So we decided that our best way to go would be to try to obtain an option agreement with the bank.
Option agreement for how much?
Okay, we were looking at $400,000.
$400,000.
$400,000.
You are insulting me. Get out of my office.
Anybody else buying it?
Anybody else buying it? What seminar did you just come from?
So we were.
This house is in excellent condition, is it not?
They don't say, but
it's in excellent condition.
We're expecting it, and doesn't need any work.
Okay. What's your option price?
And then we're going to market it for $650.
What you going to buy it for first? Because you ain't getting it for $400.
Okay.
You don't buy an $800,000 house in excellent condition for $400,000 from the bank. You buy $800,000 houses in terrible condition, possibly.
Well, I would actually.
Oh, $750. Okay.
These.
Excuse me.
I speak as a representative. Okay. But I myself would have been looking more at $550 offer.
It's one thing to offer them the money all cash.
Yeah.
But you're only offering them an option, even though they're not taking it off the market and all
right.
that. Look at it from the bank's point of view. Once the word gets out. Once the word gets out that they've granted you an option for $500,000, haven't they set the precedence that they'll take $500,000 for the house? I can't see a chance in the world of them coming down to that for you on an option. Now, if you were to offer them an ironclad, firm purchase and sale agreement, and they said that would work, maybe. What do y'all think would be a good price to option this for now? $600. $600, okay? They're thinking like buyers and not optionors, and they're going to just destroy the whole deal by trying to steal a house with nothing invested, nothing to lose, nothing at risk. The bank sees all that. You got to think from the other side's point of view the best you can, and they will not set a precedence at $500,000. If the realtor ever found out that you just destroyed the value of the property on the market.
Why would they ever give you an option?
They're willing to. They got it listed at $695. The problem says that the scuttlebutt is they'll already take $650. They'll always take less than listing. Always. They'll always take less than listing. the $695 as a list price doesn't mean anything anyway. But for them to give him an option at $600 is an offer worth making. They'll probably bump him to $650. I have not done options with the banks, but I have talked to some banks about that, and they would seriously entertain someone proposing something of that nature to them, as long as they don't have to take it off the market. See, because as long as when they option this thing to him, they can go sell it to somebody else. First deal that comes in, they can take, and they know that the only problem you're going to have with a bank is getting through their attorneys, and because their attorney's probably going to say something like, well, you're giving them an option. What if he comes back and claims he has an interest in the property, prevents you from selling it, and so forth and so on. You're going to have to develop a good relationship with the banks, and once you do, you probably got more of a supply than you can ever get sold here. But getting that first one done may not be that easy, because you got to get through their legal counsel. And if the bank gives him an option, he does in fact have an equitable interest in the property. He could cloud up the title and screw up the works and keep him from selling. If that was proposed to me, I'd simply say, look, I know that I understand your concerns, but my only interest is in selling the house for all cash. Let me try one. Let me show you that I'm not going to be a problem, but an asset to you. Let me get this one done, and then I'm looking for a long-term relationship here. And incidentally, if I can't get the bank to do it, there's 33 others out there. Some of them will work with me. My objective is to sell the house, putting you at zero risk and with nothing to lose, and myself the same. And by the way, I can't do it without an option agreement because I'm not a licensed realtor, nor do I want to be. But I happen to have some people interested in houses in your area in these price ranges.
You could sign a quit claim deed to satisfy the bank's order?
Sure, if they wanted me to. Be glad to. I sign anything they want when they don't have any of my money. Okay? So we option at $650. We simply go retail it for whatever we can get above that. Simple. Okay? We have to have a key, though. In this case, we need a permission to have a key. All right? I wouldn't waste my time offering all cash on this $750,000. Because what I would offer all cash, they'd hate me for. We don't make offers on all cash houses in excellent condition owned by banks. It's a waste of our time. If I did, it would be in the 4s. Okay.
Okay, if you thought you were going to throw me out of your office on the last one.
All right. Talk fast.
Okay, this is what we originally had we were going to make this our first offer, but I made an executive decision, made it our second offer.
Okay.
And what it was we were looking at, okay, well, this is the end of the year. Perhaps we could work a good deal, and option is for 30 days at $350,000. And at the end of 30 days, if we didn't sell it, that we would get a private mortgage on it for $350,000. And
boy, you're even lower than me, huh?
Yeah. And then,
ladies and gentlemen, what do you think the chances of a bank even entertaining a $350,000 offer on this gorgeous house in excellent condition is worth $750? If they got a reason to entertain it, fine. But in this case, they don't have a reason. There's nothing detrimental about this house, according to my example there. You're chasing tail here. You're really insulting them. You're out in La La Land. You're out in you're over there somewhere on the yellow brick road. You're not being realistic. And you absolutely look like a seminar graduate.
Didn't you say they wanted to get it off their books already?
They want to get it off their books, but they're not going to do a crazy stunt like this to do that. When they want to get it off their books, and when we buy them, you got to remember what they look like. They're ugly. They have a reason to get rid of them. They need a lot of repairs. This is an excellent house, the kind their executives want to live in, the kind they're proud to own, and you expect them to take a $350,000 off on a house worth $750 that doesn't have any kind of a problem. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. But now when you go in there with an option offer of $600,000, that's totally realistic. Totally realistic. Question?
Would a bank entertain a lease option?
Sometimes they do. But when they do, they want you to live in it.
Oh.
Yeah. They want you to live in it. If they wanted to rent it, they'd hire a realtor, put a tenant in it.